Last time on Shadow Peace, the battle of the Devil's Luck Pirates and the Fleet Admiral of the Marines accelerated. With the share fruit powers their captain William acquired, they were in a complete control situation of the battle, even elevating Duros and Ragnar to a strength level that surpassed the late strongest man in the world, Edward Newgate. Each attack shook Sakazuki's body to its core, but he still withstood it. His body may have roughly been at 60% when the battle started, but it had been reduced significantly in their exchanges. Abusing the personality of these pirates, Akainu targeted a retreating ship and forced William to change his active devil fruit. With a lucky spin of the roulette wheel, he got a great choice to block it, the gargoyle fruit. But with that, their domineering strength had disappeared, and it quickly showed when Sakazuki casually tanked an attack of the barbarian Ragnar, and countered with the true dog-biting Crimson Lotus. Whitebeard blocked the original version, but this improved version would have hurt him in the exact same way it did to the lumberjack. His entire left arm, his left shoulder, and a good chunk of his left chest got devoured by the magma hound, created by Akainu. Devastating injury, and yet the rough man just laughed at the situation. Cha-ha-ha-ha-ha! It's been a while since somebody hurt me this much. Kinda spooky. Verona didn't miss a beat and shot 7 bullets into his nakama, but those were special healing bullets. The lost body parts couldn't be recovered, but the bleeding got stopped at least, and new skin grew to cover up the wound. Now the final stage of this boss battle was about to start. Verona could have had her down. Gargoyle William was about 7 meters tall, and his voice was much deeper than his human form. His sniper simply nodded at him. They all noticed that Sakazuki had grown stronger as the fight went on. If they had to put it in numbers, it increased from around 18d6 to at least 30d6. They might be tough and durable, but if they got unlucky and somehow a critical hit landed on them, it could spell their demise instantly. Duros and William had to become shields to protect their allies. Every time a magma blow came towards the injured Ragnar or Verona, they jumped in between to block it for them, but not without their own consequences. The gargoyle skin managed to receive it very well, but Duros' armor Zawolfo and his pristine white shield friend had seen better days, and if they could get out of this situation, they would require heavy repairs, switching from brute forcing the battle to needing to use strategies to continue dealing damage. The laughing joke changed his ammunition to cold bullets just like his captain told him to. They might not do much, but every degree they lower Akainu's temperature will help them in this battle. With every attack from the Fleet Admiral, the land beneath their feet got destroyed and new stone got created from the magma interacting with the ocean. The Devil's Luck Pirates were barely keeping up now. Each magma attack grew more and more dangerous. The air shimmered with the heat, the scent of sulfur thick and heavy. The ground cracked and hissed, bleeding molten fire through jagged fissures as if the earth itself were alive and enraged. Magma surged from the depths in fiery arcs, roaring through the battlefield like a living beast. The 4 pirates darted between stone and stone, their silhouettes dancing against the scorching glow. A thunderous hiss filled the air as a blazing spear of molten rock burst forth. The attack shot towards Ragnar, who barely registered in time. "Move!" he screamed at himself, launching his body sideways with a blow of his own axe just as the liquid fire slammed into the spot he had been standing. The explosion sent spiky shards of stone scattering in all directions. One shard grazed his still existing arm, the searing heat biting into his flesh as his clothes sizzled and smoked. Ragnar grunted but rolled to his feet, his breaths coming sharp and fast. William was targeted next. Akainu raised an arm, the ground rumbling ominously. A geyser of magma erupted under the pirate captain's position, rising like a crimson serpent. His stone legs got completely surrounded, and pain took over his sensations. However, the gargoyle's feet didn't break. Instead, they only partially melted and mixed with the magma, strengthening his body in a smelting process. The pain was immediate, but it resulted in a positive outcome for William. As he had to fight with random devil fruits every battle, he had acquired a lot of knowledge, but mythical creatures were hard to learn about, so interactions between magma and gargoyles weren't really his expertise. Verona, the swiftest of the group, dashed between pillars of erupting lava with a mix of grace and desperation. The battlefield was alive with destruction after all. Columns of fire punched into the air, raining molten debris like burning meteors. "Keep moving! Never stop!" he shouted to his comrades. His voice was strained, but defiant, as he sprang over a deep crack that split the earth and opened up into the ocean, shooting more cold bullets at the leader of the Marines while he was in the air. Every inch of damage could be fight deciding. He knew that. A jet of magma exploded to his left. its burning heat grazing his masked cheek, revealing his horribly scarred lower mouth. The smell of scorched hair filled his nostrils, and pain rippled across his body like an open flame. Verona stumbles, pressing his hand against the once again burned flesh, but his feet never stopped. Then came Duras, his heavy armor clanking as he maneuvered across the treacherous ground. Their opponent's maniacal laughter echoed around, a deep, guttural sound that seemed to rattle the stones themselves. With an outstretched hand, Sakazuki conjured a swirling wave of magma that swept forward like a tidal wave, its heat warping the air in front of it. Duras planted his feet solidly on the ground and opened his eyes wide. "Run!" he shouted to everyone as the magma attack started to take on the shape of a dragon. Bracing himself, Duras brought up Friend and summoned the wolf spirit that inhabited his armor. The mythical beast struck against the blessed shield and the guardian spirit, pushing the night pirate continuously back. Duras' face distorted as he knew what those sounds meant. A wave of Conqueror's haki further increased his power, but when he finally managed to block the attack, he looked at his arm. His shield, Friend, was smiling at him before crumpling away into dust. The battlefield was chaos incarnate. Their victory may be getting closer, but they continued to suffer injuries and even losses. The once open sea had turned into a fractured volcanic hellscape. Flames danced in every direction, and the sound of bubbling magma was a constant backdrop to their movements. Explosions sent shockwaves of heat outward, each impact blasting craters into the earth and throwing molten rock high into the air. William wiped sweat or whatever liquid gargoyles produced under stress from his face, blinking against the stinging ash and smoke that thickened in the air. "We can't keep staying on the defensive. He's turning this entire place into a furnace." Ragnar, panting and limping slightly from a close call, growled, "We either fight back now, or we're cooked, and I don't want to become bear stew just yet." Duras gritted his teeth, his arm on which Friend once was trembling. "Then we hit him when he least expects it. He can't keep this up forever." As if hearing their defiance, Akainu raised both of his hands once again, and the ground convulsed. The sea started to change color from blue to orange, until a massive pillar of magma spewed skywards, that lit up the darkened horizon like a second sun. The shockwave that followed was monstrous, a ripple of pressure and heat that threw all four fighters to the ground. Duras clawed at the scorched earth, pulling himself upright. Burns marred his golden armor, smoke rising from every joint, but his eyes were sharp with resolve. "We finished this," he growled with mixed emotions. The Devil's-like pirates stood up, battered, bruised, and burnt, but unbroken. Around them, magma seethed and hissed, the earth boiling under Sakazuki's wrath. And yet, even as their bodies ached and the air burned in their lungs, a silent determination bound them together. The next move would be theirs. If not for two flying people approaching from different directions to their location at extremely high speeds. And this is the end of today's episode of Shadow Piece. I hope you enjoyed it, as this is pretty much already close to the end of this fight between the Devil's-like Pirates and Akainu. Well, there were a few things here. I tried to implement some D&D references because, well, these characters are D&D characters at their core. But I was not sure if I maybe went a bit overboard with talking about D6s and some stat numbers and whatnot, but I just felt this was the correct way to do for the characters that are the Devil's-like Pirates. But for now, all that's left to be said is stay happy, stay healthy, and most importantly, stay cultured. Pyro, out. Bye!